Thank you for coming to the program today. My name is Paul Oglesby. I'm the press attaché of the American Embassy. This facility, in case you haven't been here before, is the American Center. We have a lot of programs here dealing with American society, American culture, American government, American policy. And we also make it available to other organizations for programs such as this. So I hope perhaps you can check out our website sometime and see what other types of programs are available here at the American Center. The U.S. Embassy and the American Center are delighted to be able to host PASOS and its seminar today on transparency and lobbying. Unfortunately, our ambassador, Norman Eisen, can't be here today. He's actually out of the country. I know he would like to have been here because this is a subject that he is particularly interested in. In fact, he helped write the rules on lobbying of the Obama administration when he was working in the White House as special advisor to the president on ethics. So this is a subject that is very close to his heart, and I know he's disappointed he couldn't be here, but unfortunately he had to be out of the country today. Unfortunately, transparency in lobbying is perceived as an oxymoron for many people, both in the Czech Republic and the United States. Lobbying is also often associated with unfair competition, corruption, or subtler ways to buy undue influence. However, lobbying does have a role in democracy. NGOs, for example, for them, lobbying is a way to extend the organization's mission, its causes, and its programs. It's necessary, though, that lobbying and possible sources of influence are visible to the public. I believe that this seminar will contribute towards making lobbying more transparent in the Czech Republic, in Bulgaria, in Romania, and in Ukraine. So I thank you for coming to the program. I thank the people who will be watching us via the internet, and I wish you a successful seminar.
Thanks very much, and thanks to the American Center for hosting the event. It's a while since PASOS has had an event here. I think the last one was on the democracy assistance policies of the new EU members and some of the influences of EU policy and the National Endowment for Democracy on shaping European democracy assistance, which is an issue which is actually very live again now with the initiative of the European Endowment for Democracy. And clearly the lobbying question is one again where many of the standards have been set. Certainly the first regulation of lobbying obviously was in the United States. I'd like to just sort of say a bit about how this project really emerged. It was actually quite a big open society conference with a big discussion on advocacy by NGOs. And I felt that we have to address this in terms of the professionalization of the advocacy work of think tanks. And out of that came the idea of, well, should we look at the transparency in lobbying, but also the issues of when the work of NGOs, think tanks, is also in effect lobbying activity, even though it might not be for specific commercial or even self-interest. And so then the project itself was developed by the two colleagues here, Petr Pajas and Vals Kalnitz. And of course, the advantage of PASOS is we are a network of now 50. We have 50 members spanning 27 countries, which means there are great resources in terms of research expertise around the region. And many of the PASOS members have worked on areas related to lobbying, whether it's corruption, whether it's freedom of information, conflict of interest laws, and on lobbying itself. So I'm very happy that we were able to put this project together. And I hope also that we do bear in mind it's not just about the business sector. It is also about transparency of the activities of the non-profit sector. And PASOS is registered there's an EU register of organisations that engage in lobbying. A lot of Brussels-based think tanks are not registered in that. And we've seen recently the scandals where members of the European Parliament were placing questions for money, and one of them said that it's not against the rules at all. I think that was a Romanian MEP. So I think we have a lot of challenges facing the project like this. And with that, I would like to hand over to Peter Bias, who's been managing the whole project. Thank you, Peter.
So thank you very much. Is it clear? I would like to introduce only by a few words the project itself. As David already explained, it was started by some initiative which will correlate the issue of lobbying with advocacy, which is more or less the issue of the syntax. But let's start with the first thesis, which we would like to stress that the lobbying is considered as a natural and very normal part of policy making, and is practiced everywhere, and it's become a part of the normal democratic procedures. However, there is of course a growing interest in transparency of all these lobbying activities, because many people can, as was already mentioned by Jeff, consider the lobbying an approach to concrete political policymakers by individuals or by organizations, even in the interest of some smaller society, a field for corruption or bribery or whatever it might be. In many countries, the notions of lobbying, first of all, are not well explained. Second, sometimes are really related to the expectations that the lobbying comes bribery, and therefore any measures which are already existing in the world and which might be introduced in the countries of the European Union should be of our interest. We tried to start up with some summary of requirements or expectations. I would mention first of all the paper of the OECD, Principle for Transparency and Integrity in Lobbying, which is one of the important services for kind of benchmarking all that work on the transparency lobbying which we have done. I would like to stress also, as was mentioned here, that think tanks, the PASOS is a network of think tanks, in fact are involved in many cases of trying to influence the legislation of the countries, trying to influence concrete situations by providing some recommendations, and therefore they might be and should be to some extent also considered as organizations which are lobbying in certain sense. On the other hand, as was mentioned, we would like to distinguish between the lobbying in the private or as smaller subjects' interest from the advocacy for more or less general issues of policy making in a given country. The project, in fact, consists of several phases. I would mention already that we in the PASOS Secretariat have been collecting the information about existing laws in several countries, of course including those of the United States of America and Canada, Australia and other countries where the issues already for many years basically considered as a part of the legislation, as well as the requirements which are now already being on the table of the European Union. Then my colleague Vars Kaudiš from Providus of Latvia was asked to prepare a methodology for national research in the countries of PASOS members are actively participating in this project. And based upon this methodology and questionnaire which he prepared for interviewing people, in 4 countries we have provided made this national research, which will be now presented to you at the afternoon in the afternoon panel and in the report of Vars, which will be from European Institute in Bulgaria by Borislav Mavrov, who is here with us, by Radek Špok and his colleagues from the Czech Republic, Europeum, by Adrian Moran from the Institute of Public Policy Romania, who is also here with us, and with the Hanna Červíčenko of the International Center for Political Studies of Ukraine. She will be also at the panel in the afternoon. And based on these national reports, Vance can prepare kind of a comparative analysis report, which will be now presented to you. And we hope that after this debate here, after this seminar, few months or few weeks, in fact, we will be able to finalize the papers. They will be all published at the website of PASOS, and we may consider also some other ways of advocating for recommendations and results, which will find these discussions. So, thank you for attention for this part of the introductory part, and Jack, I think that we can go for 2 hours.
Thank you.